Good evening and welcome to the 562nd episode of Travel Witch Radio. I'm Dan Schlossberg, and we are in the 13th season of Travel Witch Radio, the show that lets you enjoy the pleasures of travel from the comfort of your armchair. Every week at this time, we talk to people representing destinations, hotels, airlines, railroads, car rental companies, and others in the world of travel and hospitality, from authors and bloggers to broadcasters and publicists. If it's got anything to do with travel, it's got everything to do with Travel Witch Radio. Our guest today is Kelsey Perry, Director of Public Relations for Rhodes Scholar. Welcome, Kelsey, to Travel Witch Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations on your tenure on the radio show.
Yes, thank you. And just so our viewers understand, we're talking a Rhodes, R-O-A-D scholar, not Rhodes Scholar. Two totally different things, right?
Yes, definitely. Every time I tell someone where I work, I have to spell it. It can be a little bit confusing.
Well, next year's your 50th anniversary, so congratulations to you too, Kelsey. But why was the original name of Elder Hostel changed?
Yeah, so when we were founded 50 years ago in 1975, the format was a little bit different. We would take older adults to college campuses, and they would stay in the dorms, and they would take classes in the lecture halls, and they would eat in the dining hall. So it was really more of like a back to campus type experience for older adults. And over the last 50 years, we have really evolved into more of an educational travel organization. So you won't be staying in dorms anymore, you're staying in hotels. But we're still a nonprofit and we're still all about learning. So, it's a mix now of classroom lectures combined with learning out in the field. So you might have a lecture with a university professor in a ballroom of your hotel, and then you'll go out to the Coliseum and learn about it in person. So it's more of an experiential learning experience now rather than just on campus.
And wasn't the original idea to combine European youth hostels with the Scandinavian tradition of folk schools for adults?
Yeah, that's really kind of where the inspiration came from. Our two founders, Marty and David, worked in the university system, and Marty had gone off to explore the youth hostels, and he backpacked around Europe as an older adult himself, and he was really taken by the Scandinavian folk schools that served older adults, and also, he learned a lot about the youth hostels, and they had a youth hostel at UNH in New Hampshire at the time where his friend David worked. And so they talked about just ways that they could use the college campus at UNH during the summer when it wasn't being used, just to make the most of the services that they had there, and came up with this idea to have an elder hostel, not a youth hostel, but an elder hostel. That's really where the idea came from. And you asked about that name change that happened in 2010, and we had just evolved so much more. Not only were we not staying in a hostel, dorm type accommodations, but also people's idea of the word elder had changed. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad that people don't respect their elders in the way that they used to, but that people who are older adults had started to change the way they felt about that word as well. So we wanted to kind of create a name that had that essence of learning, but didn't necessarily make people feel old, and we don't want to be ageist by saying that at all, but unfortunately society is ageist, and we even have ageism, for ourselves, internal ageism. So that's kind of why that name change happened.
So is it fair to say Rhodes Scholar began as an on-the-road learning program that combined not-for-credit classes with inexpensive lodging for senior adults?
Yes, exactly. So it was, like I said, that back to campus experience. Older adults were taking classes, very similar classes to what, their younger student counterparts would be taking from the same instructors. And it was very, we've always been a nonprofit, so our programs have always been very affordable, and we've always offered scholarships from the very beginning. We still do today for people that can't otherwise afford the programs, as well as caregiver grants that we offer today for full-time family caregivers.
Obviously, the idea caught on because there were a half dozen people in the very first course you offered and thousands today. In fact, isn't it true that more than 4 million adults had signed up with Elder Hostel by 2010 when it changed its name to Rhodes Scholar?
Yes, and we're over 6 million served at this point. We the last fiscal year, our fiscal year is summer to summer. So last fiscal year, we served over 140,000 travelers. I'm sorry, 90,000 travelers, and then for another 40,000 with our online programming. So all of those together, adding up to over 100,000 older adults that we serve every year.
When you said over 6 million served, I couldn't help but think of McDonald's. Okay, but you go to some fantastic places. I mean, here's Venice. This is from
Mhm.
Road Scholar. There are just so many of them. Here's a steamboat, because you do steamboat tours as well. And we're talking with Kelsey Perry, Director of Public Relations for Road Scholar. I know Road Scholar offers a wide variety of educational experiences. As a baseball writer myself, I even taught the very first and only so far Atlanta Braves baseball spring training course a few years ago. Please tell us, Kelsey, about the wide range of trips Road Scholar is offering this summer.
Yeah, and we offer programs all year round, not just in the summer like we did originally. We have programs all year round, and we have programs in I think over 40 states and over 100 countries all around the world, all 7 continents. As you said, we do have programs on ships as well as lots of land programs. It's really important for us to have those international programs, but also a lot of programs right here in the United States. So lots of national park programs. The breadth of the programming that we offer is really something that sets us apart in the travel industry. So not only the breadth of destinations that we go to, but also the breadth of price ranges, the different activities levels that we offer. Whether you're someone who wants a little bit more of a classroom experience still, or if you're someone who wants to go hiking and learn out in the field. So there's lots of different types of programming that we offer. We have programs where you can learn how to play bridge, where you can learn how to play pickleball. There's lots of physical things you can learn as well as, academic things like history and culture.
And we mentioned you've expanded to ships at sea and foreign countries. How much is domestic and how much is international at this point?
That's a good question. I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but I can say that coming out of COVID, our international enrollments have been exploding. I think there was just this feeling during the pandemic that, travel can be taken away from you at any point. And so people are just not wasting any time. They're going out there and they're seeing the world. So our international enrollments have blown up since coming out of COVID.
And I've got to ask you about this airplane. Road Scholar has its own plane.
Well, we don't own our own plane, but we have certain programs that are our private jet or private plane programs, and they are about 3 weeks long, and they go to many countries all around the world. And so we reserve that jet for the program and for the small group of our participants that are on the program.
And here's another picture I like. Not what we expected. It's a lot better than people expected, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think that, especially the shipboard programs, you hear cruise and you think, I don't know, I always thought negatively about like a cruise or a shipboard program before I started working at Road Scholar because you think of the big, like apartment buildings at sea, and that's not what we offer. Our programs on ships they're river boats, they're small ship programs, they're expedition cruises, they are yacht programs. So they're all smaller vessels, and typically you'll be in a small group with Road Scholar with your group leader. So even if there are other people outside of Road Scholar that are on the ship, you still are with your small group and you get to know other people on the program. And then we also have our floating campus programs where everybody on the ship is a Road Scholar. So those are kind of the two different options that we offer for programs that float.
If prospective Road Scholar patrons want to visit a particular destination, such as Rocky Mountain National Park, can they combine that interest with one of your courses?
Yeah, so we have a lot of national park programs. That's an example. We have some in the Rocky Mountains. And so when you go there, all of our destinations and the learning are integrated. So if you're going to the Rocky Mountains, for example, you're going to go there and you're going to learn about the natural history, the flora, the fauna. You might be out hiking, but your group leader will be very well educated and knowledgeable in those topics so that you're learning along the way as you hike or as you kayak or whatever you might be doing in the national park. So it's all really integrated. So everything that you do, you're learning as you do it.
You are tuned to Travel Witch Radio, now in our 13th season with Dan Schlossberg. Check out everything on iTunes, LinkedIn, Instagram, or the Travel It's Radio Facebook page, among other places. And we're talking today with Kelsey Perry, Director of Public Relations for Rhodes Scholar. Where are your courses offered? Are they found in every one of the 50 states, plus at least 3 times that many foreign countries?
Yeah, I think we're in something is 40 something states right now. It's constantly changing because we have new programs opening all the time, but we're in 40 something states and over 100 countries at this point. Of course, during the pandemic, we lost a lot of our programs that closed or were kind of put on the back burner, and so we're still bringing those back coming out of the pandemic. But that's about where we are now, and all 7 continents as well. I've actually been to Antarctica with Rhodes Scholar, so that was a really amazing opportunity. And yeah, so you can really go anywhere you want with Rhodes Scholar. If you want to go there, we probably have a trip there.
Where does Rhodes Scholar find its instructors, and who designs the courses?
Yes, so we have over 350 internal employees who work full time for us, and many of those people are on the programs team, and they are the ones who are planning the trips, organizing the trips, taking care of all the logistics, the educational programming, coming up with the curriculum, and everything like that. And then we also work with partners all around the world who are locals in the area because they know the area better than we do from as foreigners or from people that are from far away. So they know, not only the local customs, but also those little hidden gems. And they'll introduce you to, a local Italian family, and you can come in and have a meal and do a cooking class right in their kitchen, things like that. So those are the experiences that really make Rhodes Scholar programs magical, and you wouldn't get if you were just an independent traveler. So we do work with local partners on the ground, and almost all of our group leaders are locals as well. So you always get that really local interaction with the group leaders too.
Would you say, Kelsey, Rhodes Scholar really strives to stay true to its roots, almost like a summer school for retired people? And is there a minimum age to sign up?
Oh, there is a minimum age. We say we serve people over 50. We do make some exceptions to that, especially if it's a younger person traveling with someone over 50. So, I went on a trip with my mom last year, and we do see children or grandchildren of older adults traveling with us. We also do have grandparent and family programs that are for all 3 generations or for just the grandparents and the grandkids. So there's something out there really for everybody, but our true demographic that we serve is older adults. So the average age is 72, but we serve people in their 50s and people in their hundreds. That 72 really is an average. And yeah, I think that we stay true to our roots in that all of our programming, like I said, is all about learning and all about education. So you're not going to a destination to sit on a beach and read a book or to go shopping. You are there to learn and take part in activities, and also socialize with the other participants. That's something that's a big part of what our programs offer, and the benefit that we hear a lot of people talk about why they love Rhodes Scholar is getting to meet other people who also value learning, exploration, travel, cultural exchange, and things like that. So our participants become very close very quickly.
I better know the answer to this question. Does Rhodes Scholar generate a lot of repeat business? People who sign up for multiple courses in one year or just come back year after year?
Definitely. I know people who have been on 50, 60, even 256 is the highest number of programs I've heard
Wow.
that someone has gone on, in-person programs. So people really, really love Rhodes Scholar. And once you retire and you have that time, as long as you have the, financial ability to travel, we see people come back time after time, multiple times a year, especially, coming out of COVID. Again, I think people saw that their ability to travel can be taken away at any point in time, whether it's because of a global pandemic or it's because of age or your health. And so people have really been kind of making up for lost time coming past the pandemic.
Does Rhodes Scholar offer a print or online directory of its offerings?
Yes, because we serve older adults. Older adults like to have catalogs still, so we still print our course catalog. So you can sign up for that to get that on our website, and you can even choose which catalog you're interested in getting. If you want the full one, if you just want to learn about national parks or grandparents, there's different options for that. But we do also have a really great search tool on our website. It's rhodescholar.org. And again, it's ROAD And if you go to find an adventure on our website, you can filter all of our programs because we have thousands of programs. We have all over the world. So it can sometimes be a little bit intimidating to know where to start. So you can filter all of our programs by lots of different filter categories, whether that's activity level, price range, date, what you want to learn about, destination. There's all kinds of different filters you can use to kind of figure out what the best program is for you.
Do your courses change from one year to the next, or are many of them given every year?
So most of our programs have multiple program dates. I think there's some exceptions. There's some that are built around certain festivals like the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta or the Rose Parade, so those only happen once a year. But for the most part, most of our programs are offered multiple times a year, year after year. So we're, also every year we're always creating new programming as well. We always want to be fresh and innovative and kind of bring new programs in, take programs out that aren't very popular with people. So we're constantly coming up with new stuff, but most of our programs do have multiple departures throughout the year.
I think you touched on this one. Is Road Scholar seasonal or does it operate all year? And do you have peak and bargain seasons?
Yeah, so we operate all year round. I would say in general that, traveling off season is always more, economical for people, and that includes for our programs as well. So we have a collection, for example, of programs in Europe that they're called Winter In programs. So it's like winter in Italy, winter in Spain. And those programs come at a really high value because you're traveling in the winter, but you're in the Mediterranean, so the weather is usually still very mild and nice and sunny. So that's an example of some of our programs in the shoulder travel season is what they call it in the travel industry. So those are more economical, but we do have programs all year round. I would say, especially for our participants, because most of them are retired, they have more flexibility to travel outside of the summer season, and that's what we see being really popular is spring and fall, because they're outside of the really busy season and people are trying to kind of beat those crowds and save a little bit of money.
Let's say someone is a teacher and therefore limited by the school calendar. Would there be a chance to take a Road Scholar trip during Christmas week, for example? And how far in advance should that person book?
Very good question. So yes, we do have a lot of participants who are still working, and most of our participants, the highest or the most common job or past career for our participants is teacher or retired teacher or some kind of educator because of our focus on education. So that's definitely something that happens as we see teachers traveling with us during their breaks. Of course, we do have lots of trips during the summer. We do have programs over the holidays, and other spring break and things like that. So that's definitely an option for people. I would say as far as how far to enroll in a program, it kind of depends if you're traveling solo or if you're traveling in couple or with a friend that you're sharing a room with, because our solo programs are limited. We're limited on how many we can offer. So those sell out really quickly. So those I would say definitely looking at enrolling earlier. I had asked my data team to let me know, the booking windows are always kind of changing, but it sounds like for domestic programs, the average enrollment window is 218 days prior to the start. International is 239 days. So also, people book a little bit earlier for international travel.
And since I gave a Road Scholar course during baseball spring training, I wonder whether Road Scholar ever gets involved with other special events such as Super Bowl, Kentucky Derby, or even Easter at the Vatican.
Yeah, so we definitely have programs that are centered around festivals. I kind of mentioned a couple of them before, and that's actually one of the filters on our website that you can filter by if you're interested in festivals. But we do have the Rose Parade program is really popular for us over New Year's and the Rose Parade. We have lots of film festival programs like the Palm Springs Film Festival, Oregon Theater Festival, a Shakespeare Festival. That's another big one. So there's lots of programs that are centered around holidays or festivals.
And is there a limit to the size of your groups?
Yeah, so it depends on the program. They really range, but we definitely saw coming out of the pandemic, more people are interested in smaller group programs. So that's the direction that we're going. And we're kind of evolving, moving forward. A lot more of our programs are small group. Most of our international programs are small group. And what we qualify as small group is a max of 24. So that's generally what you'll find on most of our programs are under 24 people, but there are some bigger programs. And that that Rose Parade program that I mentioned, that one is actually one where we have hundreds of people on the program, but then we break them into smaller groups, and each group has their own group leader and has their own bus and everything like that. So everybody breaks up into smaller groups, but because that Rose Parade program only happens once a year, we try to get a lot of groups on it. And they actually get to decorate rose parade floats. So that's a really cool little feature of that program. But yeah, so and then we also have micro group programs, which are maximum of 13, and those are much smaller as well. A lot of those are outdoor programs where you're hiking and things like that. So lots of different, just again, we have a breadth of programming. So we also have a breadth of programming as far as what group size you're looking for.
Well, in your regular group, not Rose Parade, how
Yeah.
many instructors do you have, or how many leaders do you have per group? I mean, do you ever have more than one?
We have one group leader who is with the group, if it's a regular small size group, and they're with you for the entire extent of the program. And so they are taking care of all the logistics, making sure that you know where to be when, making sure that the bus is there. They're, guiding you through the streets of old Prague and telling you where to go. And they're also locals who are well versed in the history and heritage and different topics of their destination where they are. So they'll do a lot of educational programming throughout the trip as well. And then throughout the week, you'll also meet with instructors. So there's the group leader and then there's instructors. And the instructors are people that you might meet for one day or for 1 hour, and they'll do a special lecture for you on a certain topic that they're knowledgeable in, or they might give you, a walk through Paris or something like that. So you have the group leader, they take care of logistics, but also do some of the educational programming. And then you have the instructors. And the instructors might also be, again, a breadth of instructors. It might be a university professor. It might be a lobster boat fisherman. It might be someone who owns an organic winery. So you're also learning from people like that who are knowledgeable in their own fields.
Have you taken or given any Rhodes Scholar courses yourself, Kelsey? And if so, which ones are your personal favorites?
I've been on, I think, 8 Rhodes Scholar programs in the 8 years that I've been at Rhodes Scholar. I would say I got to go to Antarctica, so that's a tough place to beat. I literally, before I worked at Rhodes Scholar, I didn't even know that normal people could go to Antarctica. I thought it was just for scientists. So that was just an incredible opportunity that I never imagined in my wildest dreams I would ever go there. And I got to go swimming in Antarctica. It was less swimming as more of a little dip, but that was really amazing. And then I would say my second favorite was Cuba. I had also never thought about going to Cuba, but it's something that Rhodes Scholar has a lot of programs there because we are an educational organization. We've been going there since the 90s consistently. And so, we have these really amazing people to people programs there. And it was just the place that I've visited in the world where it really changed my perspective more than anywhere else that I've ever been. So that was really amazing. And then I have to give a plug. My husband and I did our honeymoon with Rhodes Scholar to Galapagos and Machu Picchu. And so that was really incredible. It was great to be able to share that with him. And also it was the first time that either of us had ever been snorkeling. And so we went snorkeling with sea lions and penguins at one point we saw in the water with us, and sea turtles, and that was just like unbelievable. So the I really have grown to love the wildlife interactions on the programs. I haven't always been a super outdoorsy person, but once I was introduced to travel and wildlife on my travels, that being able to be that close to a penguin and a marine iguana is just like really incredible. So those are some of my favorites.
Having been to Galapagos, I know the animals have no fear. They're very friendly. It's
They
crazy.
don't, because we're not predators to them there, and that's how it is in Antarctica as well. So it's just amazing to be able to get that close to them.
From an organization that started in a conversation between friends, Rhodes Scholar gained traction quickly with 5 New England colleges offering first-year programs to a couple of hundred participants who were essentially guinea pigs, weren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. They didn't really know what they were in for.
Where and when did Rhodes Scholar go international?
Yeah, we started our international programs in the early 1980s. And yeah, we've been going strong since all over the world. I don't know exactly when we went to all 7 continents, but we have programs all over.
And your staff has grown. You said you have, what, 350 people there now?
Yeah, we had the last time, we got the report, it was about 350 people full-time internal staff. We had over 500 before COVID, so we're still growing back. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of our great colleagues during COVID, but we're building back. And we also then have part-time group leaders and instructors in the hundreds all over the world as well.
I remember thinking a hostel meant shared living accommodations, as in a dormitory, but that's no longer the case with Rhodes Scholar, is it?
That's right. So we evolved, over the last 50 years to be more of an educational travel organization than the elder hostel program of our roots. So they're no longer staying, our participants are no longer staying in dorms. It's hotels and it's retreat centers. Some of them are, more basic retreat centers, but there's not really any more shared bathrooms or anything like that. So that's kind of something that changed really with the baby boomers. Once we started serving baby boomers, that was really a generational shift. They were like, I don't want to stay in a college dorm and share bathrooms. So that's something that we've changed to accommodate our participants.
We're talking with Kelsey Perry, Director of Public Relations for Rhodes Scholar. Our viewers always like to know a little bit about our guests, so please share where you were born and raised, where you went to school, and how you came to Rhodes Scholar.
Yes, I'm from Wisconsin originally, northern Wisconsin, a very small town of 4,000 people called Mosinee. I'll say the name because you'll probably never hear of it otherwise. And yeah, very small town in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. I grew up kind of the black sheep of my family. They all loved the outdoors and sports, and I loved reading and learning, and so I was the one under the bleachers reading a book at my sister's softball games. And I think that I always kind of attribute my love of reading to my love of travel. I think that reading was my first mode of transportation, my first way to kind of get out of my small town and explore and learn about different places. And I always Peter Pan was like my favorite book. The idea of Neverland and going to explore a new place is something that's always really appealed to me. So I think that's really where my love of travel comes from. And then I studied abroad in Ireland when I was in college for my entire sophomore year, so for about 9 months. And that was my first time traveling internationally and my first time really being out on my own in that way. And so that just completely changed my life, as study abroad usually does for people. Ireland is my absolute favorite place in the whole world. It's the place where I feel the most at home. I would live there if I could, but it's not super easy to just move to Ireland. So someday I will definitely be living in Ireland, but that really just changed my life and opened so many doors to me and just opened my eyes to international travel and cultural exchange and all that kind of thing. So yeah, and I did that. I went to college at St. Mary's College in South Bend, Indiana. It's across the street from Notre Dame. So that's usually what people know of it. And then I got my graduate degree, my MFA in creative writing from Goddard College in Vermont. And that's where I met my husband. And I moved to Massachusetts, to Boston after that, and lived there for almost 10 years. And then my husband and I wanted to buy a house, and Boston is totally unaffordable. So we moved to Providence, which is just about an hour from Boston. And we love it here. I'm so happy that we moved to Providence. We love it. If you've never been to Providence, anyone listening, it's also a great, we don't have a program here at the moment, which I'm pushing for. But if you ever are in Boston and you want to take a little day trip, Providence is a really great little sister city to come visit. So highly recommend it.
Is there anything about Rhodes Scholar you'd like to add?
Yeah, let's see. Well, we didn't talk a lot about our grandparent program, so I can talk a little bit more about that as well. So we started doing our grandparent programs all the way back in 1985, maybe even earlier. I'm doing a little research to figure that exact date out. But we've done family programs, which is 3 generations, and then we have our grandparent programs, which I think are the most special and unique program offerings that we have. And that's sometimes in the travel industry is referred to as skip gen travel. So you have the grandparents and the grandkids traveling, just the two of them in the group with other grandparents and other grandkids. And it's just a really unique way for grandparents to share their love of learning and share other passions and pass those on to their grandkids, and also just get to know each other really as people without the parents there. It's just a different kind of interaction when you don't have the parents there. And so we've heard from, grandparents that they get much closer with their grandkids. They share these lifelong memories, and they just really get to learn a lot about them. And their grandkids get to learn about them as people, and not just as, the grandparent that's at the family gathering. So those are really special. And I'd love for my kids to go on those with my parents someday.
My guest today has been Kelsey Perry, Director of Public Relations for Rhodes Scholar. Thank you, Kelsey, for visiting with us. Great show.
Thank you so much.
And viewers, this is the 50th anniversary, not only of Rhodes Scholar for next year, but of the home run that broke Babe Ruth's record for Hank Aaron. Now that the second half of the season has started, this is your chance to share the excitement with my biography, Home Run King, The Remarkable Record of Hank Aaron, featuring a foreword by Dusty Baker. This 265-page hardcover explores Aaron's contributions as a home run hitter on and off the field, as an athlete, and as an advocate for civil rights. That's Home Run King, The Remarkable Record of Hank Aaron. Get it today on Amazon.com. And that's it for this edition of Travelwitch Radio. Next week, same time, same place, same writer. We'll talk with Maya Davis about International Underground Railroad Month. Now, this is Dan Schlossberg saying thank you for your time this time. Until next time, good night and stay safe.